legal segment which we are going to host today between 10 to 10:30 for all of you. This is Your Business Matters with Pallavi Aluwalia. So do remember that you can ask your question. You can ask your questions right away by calling 972-235-5555. So Pallavi usually does her show between 10 to 10:30 on Wednesdays. Let's find out what kept her away from us. So let's find out. It's very interesting, and I do want Pallavi to speak for herself. Good morning, Pallavi. How are you?
A wonderful morning to you, Mitu. I'm doing extremely well. I'm so glad to be back here and doing this show, and apologize to the listeners who tried to tune in yesterday for Your Business Matters and I wasn't here. So I was invited to be on a global migration panel. This was in Portugal. It was in a place called Cascais, and it had different topics of that were being discussed globally. This conference was called Horasis. So it's being set up akin to the World Economic Forum that happens in Davos. This is another conference that's upcoming. It's been going on for the last 4 years, but this is the first time that I was part of it. And on my panel, the discussion was the patterns or the rise of populism and how it is impacting migration or immigration, as we call it here. So it was right to our topic, something that we observe here, something that we see as change things that impact a lot of our listeners, a lot of people that are here on H1s or different visas. So I weighed in on what I can see here. And what was interesting was the kind of panelists that I was with in a very, very august company. I had the ex-Prime Minister of Belgium who was on my panel, as were many people from UN. And I mean, these are from different countries, leaders from in different ways that were discussing the impact of migration onto either the European Union or within their aspect of their countries. So, and of course, we have here that we bring, and we have to say that President Trump was discussed in the panels, not just my panel, but in panels throughout this 3 or 4 days of the conference, because his stance on different things is interesting to the rest of the world, and they're observing us with this thought that has U.S. changed forever in the aspect or the welcoming stance that it's had before. So it was very interesting, and I am glad to be back here, back to the office, back to doing the show here today, and would be happy to answer any questions for anyone.
And Pallavi, thank you so much. It sounds like quite an experience you had, and esteemed member of the members in your panel and on other panel, as you were speaking about earlier.
Yes, we even had some U.S. senators there. We had Nobel laureates. We had ex-presidents, prime ministers of countries, of course, and we also had some current politicians or prime ministers or leaders of their countries. So it was very, very interesting. It was very good to listen to their different views, and these were on technology, on movement of people, and on just different aspects of the global world.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with our listeners here, and look forward to all our listeners calling us right now. If you have a legal question, if you have a question for Pallavi based on immigration matters or family law, corporate law or civil matters, give us a call right now, 972-235-5555. That's the number in the studio. Pallavi will be more than glad to answer, and that is the reason after returning, she was most keen to come back on the airwaves of Phanisha Radio to attend to your questions right here on Phanisha Radio 104.9 FM. So opening all the lines for all of you. Once again, the number in the studio, it is 972-235-5555. You're live on the air. Please go ahead and ask your question to Pallavi.
Hi, Pallavi. I have a question. I'm getting a lawsuit letter from one of the collection companies. They are saying that if you don't respond within 14 days of the letter that they served, that they filed in the court, Holland County, they said that they're going to follow up with a lawsuit. I don't know how to go about with that.
So just state your the first sentence again. I did not catch that. Just say it again, please.
So I'm getting a lawsuit by one of the collection companies.
Somebody has filed a lawsuit against you for collections.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Have you been served?
I was served by this gentleman who came by and they said to respond within 14 days. Otherwise, they're going to file a lawsuit.
So within 14 days, no, that does not sound like it would be a lawsuit that you got. You may have gotten something else. You will have to see where it was filed because the response times should be 20 days, the Monday following 20 days from the time that you were sued. So that is a typical time. So 14 days does not sound right unless you have a restraining order. Restraining orders are usually have a 14-day deadline and you have to appear for a hearing within that time. So you should definitely show it to an attorney who can litigate this and get an opinion as to what's going on, all right?
Offer tax assistance or no?
So no, we don't do litigation on collection matters in our office. We don't do that right now.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, all the best.
All right. Thank you for your call. 972-235-5555 number in the studio. If you want to get in touch with Pallavi beyond the show, you must give them a call for appointments. The number to call would be 972-361-0606. aluvalialaw.com is the website to go. You're live on the air. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, I have a question that can I use my prior I-140 from my ex-employer for H1 extension now because my new employer filed I-1 form got approved, but I don't think the I-140 will be approved before the H1B will be expiring. So I'm on 9th year.
Okay, got it. So your I-140 had been approved for over 180 days?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, you can use it for extension. So that's what changed in the law in January of 2017, and that allows you to use your I-140 that has been approved for over 180 days for the purposes of your H-1B extension. So you should be all right.
Is there any way to know if it was revoked or the
It
employer
does
has
not matter.
withdrawn it?
As long as, even if it was withdrawn, the government's earlier view was a little iffy because they would just make a discretionary decision on whether they would allow an extension or not. At this time, with the clarification that happened on January 17th of 2017, they have to allow an extension of the H-1B past your 6 years if you've had your I-140 that had been approved for over 180 days. So you should be all right, even if it has been withdrawn.
Okay, thank you so much.
All the
Thank
best.
you for your call. 972-235-5555 number in the studio. You are live on the air. Please go ahead and ask your question to Pallavi.
Good morning, Pallavi. A young question. One of my close friend in India, they are stage performing artists. So they went for a tourist visa, B1, B2. But they got straight away denied. So the question is, are they only supposed to come on B3 visa or only can they also apply for a tourist visa? The second question is, once it's denied now, can they reapply again?
Yeah, so getting to apply a B1, B2 for coming in for a P3 role is not recommended. And if it is denied, they will not reconsider it. So the B1, B2 visa is strictly made. So if it's a B1, it's made for a business visit, a quick meeting or a conference to attend. If it's a B2, which is also just given as a B1/B2, if it's a B2, then it is given just for the purposes of a visitor, and you have to be able to show the reason why you're visiting. Number one, that you have enough ties back in the home country, financial strength in the home country. So getting just the point of a performance here will mess the B2 rights to come into the country or B2 reasons to come into the country. So at this point, I would just tell them to go through the P3 process, get that approved, and then go for stamping because that's a requirement.
But this time the visit was not for P3 or any performance. They just want to come here on a tourist visa. So even that also denied.
So I don't know, how did the point about the performance come in?
Because the officer said you both are stage performing artists, so we can't issue a visa. They gave the 214B form, which says that something.
Yeah, so basically they suspected that they were just coming in. Whatever they were stating to the officer, the officer went down one layer there to dig in and to say that his suspicion is this. And again, this goes to the discretionary element, unfortunately, of the B2, where it's the lowest category and discretion is at largely play there.
Okay, thank you. Sure, thanks.
All the best.
Thank you for your call. Moving on to our next caller, Phanisha Radio, you're live on the air. Please ask your question.
Hey, hi ma'am, this is Sobo. Actually, I came to US in 2015 on H4 visa, and I have applied for my H1 in 2016. After 7 to 8 months, I got RFE, and after that 8 months, my H1B denial. Then I asked my employer to reapply for appeal. They applied. Last week I came to know that appeal also approved. But till now I didn't get any documents from USIC. Meanwhile, in this month, 17th, my H4 also approved. They applied, my spouse employer applied for H4 extension. In this month, 17th, my H4 approved. And 18th, my previous H1, which was denied, that one approved.
Got reopened.
And on 19th, yeah. Sorry?
Okay. So they reopened it. Have they approved it or reopened it?
Yeah, reopened, and that one also approved, H1, and the 290B also approved. Both are in 18 and 19 approved. But till now,
very good.
Till now I didn't got any documents. I think my employer changed the address. Something is message going with them. My question is, if I get the document, do I need to go for stamping in India, or do I need to change of status here?
Yeah, so if you're already on an H4, then you'll have to do a change of status, but that means you have to amend your approval and ask the government for a change of status. Now that can also go through another RFE. So you may be just better off just stepping out, coming back in with visa stamping. And again, I say that with a little bit of a grain of salt there, because even at the consulates, 221Gs are quite normal. So, but at least now you have two options, right? Once you go out.
Even though I have to plan to go India on H4 and come back to H4 to here, and I need to bring my daughter also. Okay. So once I came back, when I go with H4 and came back with H4 visa on stamp, can I come over here? Can I apply for COS? Is it good, or do I need to stamping H1 in the India? That is good.
Yeah, so once you go to India, I would say first go for the H1B stamping. If there's something that does not work and you have to come back into the country, then as a second option, use the H4 for stamping and enter the country. From the time you enter the country, no changes of status for 90 days, please, because that will cause you an issue later. So, but at this point, that seems to be a better option rather than trying to do an amendment here of stay and changing your status within the country, because that's also prone to another RFE based on the policy of the government that was issued in September of 2017 last year.
Okay. Its better option is to go to India and do the H1 stamping, if that is not done.
But always have the option of the H4 as well. Meaning that if there is something that goes wrong, there's a 221G or any delay, you do have an option to return to the country on the H4. Yes, that's
how many days can I take to apply for if they rejected something, 221J they gave for H1? After how many days can I apply for H4 visa?
I would do it. I mean, you don't have any delays that the consulate says you have to wait an X number of days before you apply. You don't have that. You can just literally go in and take the next appointment for the H4. But if you want to wait a week or so before you do to gather your documents, that way it shows that you at least are working on your plan B and you didn't have a pre-plan to do it this way, then you should be all right.
Okay. I have a question. If they send the document, will I get that immediate H1 starting, or do I need to go for COS? They will provide. Meanwhile, in the appeal and these 2 years, I went to India last year. So I think so they will give administration process only, as you said.
Correct, possible.
All right.
Yeah, I am waiting for that.
Yes, it's possible.
Okay.
That is the word.
Yeah, I am in my mind also the same thing what you said. First I will try for H1. If that goes wrong anything, after that 1 week I will apply for H4 and I can come back. Is it correct?
Okay. Yes, correct.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much for your call. It was a little longer than we would have liked, but let's say I would have liked, because I want to give chance to everybody who are frantically trying to reach Pallavi at this point. Please keep your questions brief. That is my humble request to all of you. You are live on air. Please go ahead and ask your question to Pallavi. Phanisha Radio, you're live on air. Please ask your question to Pallavi.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead. You are live on air.
Yes, I have a question. My wife, she's pretty sick. She's on a medical ground and she cannot travel. That's the doctor advice. She cannot go by plane or any other transportation to India. So I'm thinking to bring some her brother, sister, parents to visit her, because she's very, very sick now. We don't know when she will go away. So what we can do about it to get the visa?
Yeah. So, is she terminally ill? What's going on with her? I'm sorry to hear that. Is she?
She has all kind of problem, heart problem.
Right, so you could make a request. You could make a request to the siblings to come and see her, and you could say that you could send them an email inviting them and say that we're calling you here so that you can come and visit us as well as the U.S. And we'd like for you to come and visit your sister as she is unable to come in, and you could just go over it that way. Then when they go in for your interview, then have the siblings show the emails that you're sending along with any paperwork that talks about it. Now, I'd said this in the beginning of the show as well. The B2 is really for visitors to come in and spend their money here in the U.S. And they should have ties back in the home country. And any other options that the government is looking at currently on a discretionary basis, they are able to deny it. So it remains a concern that there is a huge amount of discretion that's at play there, but that may be a good option for them to try, is to have you send an email telling them about the sister and saying that I really would want you to come and visit and see her and be here for 6-8 weeks, whatever your plans are.
Yeah. I mean, another thing, the immigration, they're not going to ask a question how you going to support them, this and that, and our income and everything. We both are retired. We're not working. We have our social security. We depend on that. Plus,
what about the people that are coming and visiting, because they're looking at their financial strength in the home country?
They are well settled back in India. They are business,
Okay, so the email then should also talk about that. Say that I know that you're coming in and you're breaking away from your business currently, and it's a little hard for you to do. So just in that email, the consular officer should be able to understand the point that they are well settled. They're not about to give up their business to come here when they come here for a visit, because everybody is looked at with suspicion as if they want to come and immigrate here, even if they want to come and visit. So that's the concern of the officer.
Okay. All right, I can contact you at the office if I need any help.
Yes, of course. I'll come.
Yeah. What is your number, ma'am?
Let me share that with you. The number is 972-361-0606, and aluvalialaw.com is the website to go and find out more about them. Do want you all to know, Ahluwalia Law Offices is a boutique law firm located in Dallas-Fort Worth area and also serving the tri-states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Pallavi, is there an update that you would like to share with our listeners here?
Yes. So we are having a lot of people that are getting impacted by the USCIS policy memo on third-party worksite that happened in the end of February. There has been a lawsuit that's been filed by plaintiff companies, and this is a motion for a temporary restraining order and an injunction that is challenging this memo. This has been filed in New Jersey, so we have to just wait to see if it impacts everyone else, if the court does enjoin the USCIS from implementing this, because we're hearing horror stories from everyone we're experiencing part of it at our end as well, where every case is getting a request for evidence, and eventually they're just booting out several occupations from being H1s. So the point or the concern being that this is just unprecedented as to the attack against consulting companies, and this is a lawsuit that needs to be watched.
All right, thank you for that update. 972-235-5555, number in the studio. And you can schedule your appointment at frontdesk@ahluwalialaw.com, or you can simply call at 972-361-0606. So I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about your website here, ahluwalialaw.com. And it has very useful information, client resources, and something that you constantly keep updating on the tab which says "From My Desk." Please speak about it for a moment here for our listeners here, Pallavi.
Yeah, we do have blogs that we put on there, and we just have some articles, something that we think that's concerning, just a thought that we have that may impact a lot of people that are going through different kind of immigration processes. Last time we had some questions about certificate of naturalization and what kind of forms to use. So we have a blog that we have on that. There is a part where you can ask us a brief question there. Now, it should not be of a confidential nature, number one, and it should not be too long, because if it is too long, then it does require somebody to sit down with an attorney and go through that question-answer process. If it's fairly simple, that requires a quick answer, then you can use that. And of course, the website could also be used to book appointments and to reach out to the front desk through that. So, and of course, we always here on Wednesdays usually. Today's an off day for us to be here, but on Wednesdays to be able to answer questions. So if you have any questions, that you can reach me here and have a quick question-answer session here.
Perfect. And thank you so much, Pallavi, for doing this for our community here. And I know you must be tired after that long journey from Portugal.
No, it's a full day with 12 appointments. I'm actually geared up for a full day. No tiredness. It's on to the next thing. So I'm glad to be back and glad to do what I do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pallavi. And when she says that, I know, because when she's in the studio, I see that excitement and passion in her whenever she attends your call. So thank you so much, Pallavi, once again for coming on the airwaves of Anisha Radio 104.9 FM.
All right. Thank you so much, Meetu, and I look forward to being back next Wednesday.